Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the player ratings. Manchester United 3, Everton 1 last night at Old Trafford. Everton crashing out of the FA Cup at the third round stage with a disappointing result. I would say a better performance than of course the one against Brighton last weekend. Last week. And let's be honest with ourselves, it wasn't particularly difficult for Everton to put in a better performance than that one against Brighton, because that one against Brighton was absolutely horrific. So it wasn't much of a task for them to improve on what that was. Having said that, we did improve. There was a little bit more resilience, there was a little bit more fight, there was a little bit more structure. I think the players looked like they knew what they were doing more last night, and I think that has a large part to do with the change of system, reverting back to a 5 at the back, 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it, and obviously having the extra centre half in there is simply the only way Everton can play at the moment, and the way that Everton should play, from now until the end of the season, regardless of whether we're at home or away, and regardless of who we're playing, because that seems to be the only way you get a reaction out of these players. It seems to be the only way these players will fight, these players will battle, these players will work, is when we've got, everybody behind the ball, the extra defender in there, and, we're pretty much relying on the counter-attack. And as I said, I thought there were improvements yesterday. I did think there were improvements. I thought there was a little bit more effort. I thought there was a little bit more determination. I thought there was a little bit more cohesion. I thought the passing was a little bit almost as if they'd worked on it over the last couple of days. I still think we look scarily void of ideas going forward. I still think we had a couple of opportunities where we were moving the ball into positive areas, and players are just sort of standing around with the ball at their feet thinking, well, what do we do now? It's almost like we'll get it to TheMightyBlues and let him try and take somebody on, and if that doesn't work, we haven't really got a plan B. But ultimately it was a result that I don't think any of us were surprised about. There's two ways of looking at it. You can look at it disappointed and frustrated and upset at the fact that it's another season without a trophy for Everton Football Club. It's another trophyless season. It's now 28 years and counting, and the same board are still persistent in their belief that they're doing a good job at running this football club. Or you can look at it the other way and say, well, yeah, it is another season without a trophy, but it's one less distraction to our league form, which, let's be honest, takes priority at the moment. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. If you'd have said to me before the game yesterday, you've got, Manchester United away and Southampton at home, which game would you rather win? If you could only win one, it would be Southampton at home, I'd have picked. And that's not me saying I wanted to lose yesterday, or I was happy that we lost, because I wasn't. I was disappointed, I was frustrated, and certainly given that there was a massive element of luck from Manchester United's side that saw them through last night. But I'm not really massively surprised at that result. And as I said, I'm more worried about our league form going forward than what I am about any potential FA Cup run. Because let's be honest, we wouldn't won it anyway. Even had we have won last night, it would have been great, and the atmosphere would have been brilliant, and maybe it would have been a catalyst for a kickstart for a little bit of form. But we wouldn't have won the whole competition. So, obviously a lot of talk around Frank Lampard and his future and where this leaves the manager, and I've seen a lot of people on social media yesterday, and I think I referenced this in my instant match reaction last night. I was extremely tired during that instant match reaction, so I can't really remember what I said, but I'm pretty sure I referenced the fact that there was a lot of Evertonians on social media yesterday, Twitter specifically, talking about how it would be really harsh to sack Frank Lampard after that performance and after that result, especially given the fact that, their second goal was an own goal that 9 times out of 10 doesn't happen. Their third goal was a silly penalty that was given through, I think, a little bit of desperation from Everton to try and get back into the game. And I agree. It would be harsh to sack Frank Lampard based off of that one performance, based off of that one result, because it was better. There was more resilience, as I said. There was a little bit more battle. Players did step up a little bit. But that doesn't mean that Frank Lampard is excused and should keep his job for the fact that we've won one game in 12 matches, and for the fact that we lost dreadfully to Brighton, to Wolves, twice to Bournemouth in a week, and to Leicester as well. And these aren't teams that are fighting towards the top end of the Premier League. Okay, Brighton are in relatively good form, and that's fine, and we'll give them that. They still should never have been able to do what they did to us on Tuesday, but Wolves were bottom of the table when they came to Goodison Park and beat us. Leicester were in absolutely woeful form and in a really, really bad way. They come to Goodison Park and they beat us, and Bournemouth were a team that was struggling massively in the Premier League and put 7 goals past us in the match of the week. So it's not a case of Frank Lampard deserving to be sacked because of that result and performance last night. It's the fact that it's another defeat, and whilst it was an improvement and whilst it was a little bit better, the black and white of the situation is that it's another defeat, and the black and white of the situation is that Everton are in a really, really dangerous position at the moment. But whether or not the manager will lose his job, we don't know. As I've said before, I'm not with Everton now with these types of situations. I just look at it, and somebody said to me last night, do you think Frank should be sacked? And I said, I do think Frank should be sacked, yeah, because I think Everton's form of late, not last night, completely disregarding last night, Everton's form of late has not been good enough. And if it was any other manager, we would be wanting them to be sacked. And if it was Rafael Benitez last season, for example, we would be wanting to be sacked, and rightly so. And they posed the question to me, well, who do we get in? Does that fix the problem if Frank Lampard is sacked? And I said, no, I don't necessarily think it does. I don't necessarily think Frank Lampard is the issue with Everton Football Club, but I also don't think he is the solution for what we need at the moment. I just don't think he's tactically good enough. I don't think he's tactically screwed on enough to ultimately get us out of this position. And some people could say, well, he was last season, but last season he had, a striker that was given everything every single time he went on the pitch and scoring goals, and he hasn't got that this season. He's got Neil Maupay, who, no matter what system we play him in, seems out of place. But who knows? We'll wait and see. Anyway, this is the player ratings. I've spoken long enough. We have done the instant match reaction. That was last night. If you want to check that out, please do so. This is the play ratings. We're going to jump in and give every player a mark. Obviously, 1 out of 10 for their performance. As I said, a better performance last night it was, and I remember doing the play ratings on Tuesday after Brighton, and I can't remember if anybody got more than a 2, to be honest with you, and that was lucky. Let's jump straight into it then. Jordan Pickford. I'm gonna give Jordan a 7. I thought Jordan done okay yesterday. I thought he made a couple of big saves. He made a really, really big save in that first half when it was 1-1, I believe, to deny Manchester United going 2-1 up. I can't remember who it was, but one of their attackers had a one-on-one opportunity, and he made a save that he had absolutely no right to make. The goals we conceded, I don't think any of them were his fault. The first goal was truly awful defending. The second, as I said, was obviously a massive element of luck, and the third was a penalty. So I'm not going to sit here and blame him for any of the goals, because I don't think he was at fault for them. I thought he was pretty much solid enough. It could have been, 4 or 5 without Jordan Pickford. So, I think his performance was one that I don't think many Evertonians would have had any complaints about. So, yeah, Jordan's getting a 7. Vitaly Mykolenko, I'm going to give Vitaly a 3. I think he was poor again last night. I really, really do think he was poor again last night. I thought he struggled against Brighton, when it went a little bit under the radar, because I thought Nathan Patterson struggled as well, and then obviously Nathan Patterson ended up going off with that injury. But I thought Vitaly Mykolenko really, really struggled last night. Struggled to keep up with the pace of Manchester United's attack, and look, fair enough, Manchester United have got a lot of attacking quality in there. They've got a lot of players in that forward line that can hurt teams and create chances and score goals, and that's fine. But I just think Vitaly Mykolenko struggled to deal with it yesterday, positionally wise. I think he wasn't great, and it's getting to that point now where I think he may be due some time out of the team. Now, obviously Ruben Vinagre wasn't on the bench yesterday. Why? I do not know. But I just think he's in a bad run of form at the moment, Vitaly Mykolenko. I'm not going to sit here and slag him off, and I'm not going to sit here and have a go at him. I'm not going to sit here and write him off, because there's been periods during his time at Everton in the last year where he's been in good runs of form, and we've been very complimentary about him. But he's in a bad run of form at the moment, and I thought he was poor last night. I did think he was poor last night. Into the centre-backs then, James Tarkowski. I'm going to give James... I'm going to give him a 6. I thought he was okay. I don't think he was at his best by any sense of the imagination. But I thought he'd done relatively okay at dealing with Manchester United's forward line. I think there were a couple of times in that first half where, okay, they didn't formulate an opportunity, or they weren't particularly clinical, but they were given, we allowed them too much space in and around the box, and whether it be Bruno Fernandes picking it up with time to make a decision, whether it be Martial picking it up with time to make a decision. There were a number of Manchester United players in that first half, forward players, that picked the ball up in good attacking areas with time to pick a pass or to take a shot. And okay, we managed to block it, or we managed to deny that opportunity, but they were still given those chances. And but I thought Tarkowski was okay. Thought he was pretty solid. Wasn't an outstanding performance, didn't do anything that makes you go, oh my god, he was absolutely amazing, but he didn't do anything that made me go, oh my god, what's he doing? Just standard from Tarky, really. So he's getting a 6 out of 10. Connor Cody next to him, I'm going to give Connor a 7 out of... actually, no. I'm going to give Connor I'll give him a... I don't know. I'm going to give him a 6 as well. Obviously, he scored the goal, which actually is quite a funny goal, really, when you see it from our point of view, because it's awful defending from Manchester United, and it's awful goalkeeping from David De Gea as well, who they still seem to think is one of the best in the world. But it's actually really, really good movement from Connor Cody. It's the movement that you would expect to see from a striker, really, because he sort of anticipates that there's going to be a bit of a scramble. He sort of anticipates that there's going to be a little bit of a fuck up from Manchester United, for lack of a better phrase. And he puts himself in the area, and he puts himself in the position to be able to benefit from that. And he does, and he gets the goal, and obviously he gets Everton back in the game. The own goal is what it is. It's clear to see what he's trying to do. I'm not too sure what outcome he thought it would have by positioning his body in that way to try and block the ball. But, it was a split-second decision. Marcus Rashford's putting the ball across the box. He doesn't know who's in and around him. So it was a split-second decision. It was a little bit unlucky. Other than that, I thought he was okay. I thought he defended relatively well. I thought he battled. I thought he looked okay. Next to them then, Ben Godfrey. Do you know what? I'm going to give Ben a 6.5 out of 10 yesterday. And Ben's got a lot of stick over the last, 15 hours or so since the game. I seen somebody call him a glorified 100-metre runner. I actually don't think Ben Godfrey was that bad yesterday. Yes, positionally he was caught a couple of times, and yes, there was a couple of moments where he drove with the ball into the midfield, or he drove with the ball to try and make something happen, and he ended up running into trouble. But ultimately, that wasn't really his job yesterday. That wasn't really his role. His role wasn't to drive with the ball into midfield and pick a pass and create an opportunity. His role was to defend, and when he found himself going on those marauding runs into the midfield, he was always going to lose the ball at some point. But I thought Everton looked better for having Ben Godfrey in that defence. Now, whilst Ben mightn't have been perfect yesterday, and whilst his performance mightn't have been absolutely outstanding, we just look so much more comfortable. We look so much more composed. We look so much better with that extra defender in there. And as I said, I don't think Ben did anything that made me really go, oh my God, he's having a shocker. I thought he kept up with the pace. I thought he battled. He threw his foot in. He threw the challenges in. I thought he gave Manchester United's forward line a difficult evening, to be perfectly honest with you. As I said before, and I said on the instant match reaction yesterday, it is absolutely the way to go now. It is absolutely the way to go going forward, is to play that 5 at the back, because ultimately we just can't play any other way. We don't know how to play any other way. We simply don't. So that's the way forward. I thought Ben done okay, and I think Ben Godfrey now should be playing in that back line, for the remainder of the season, unless of course we go out and buy 3 unbelievable forward players, and we don't have to do that. But for now, that's the way forward. Seamus Coleman at right wing back. Yeah, I give Seamus a 6 as well. I thought he done okay, to be honest with you. I thought he kept up with Marcus Rashford. There wasn't an awful lot of times where he was beaten in terms of for pace or for positioning or for whatever down that right hand side, which is good, because he was coming up against players that are in form, players that are have been brilliant since the World Cup, especially Marcus Rashford, who's been absolutely phenomenal since returning to Manchester United after the World Cup. And he dealt with them. He dealt with them well. He done what he needed to do. He battled. He worked hard. He led. yeah, I had absolutely no issue with Seamus yesterday. I thought his performance was okay. And again, this is all relevant to the game. And I know we'll get some people in the comments saying, oh, look at your Cam saying that they were great in this, that and the other when we lost them with this, that and the other. This is just me analysing that game of football last night. They were okay. They weren't good. They weren't great. They were better than what they were against Brighton. But ultimately, we've still ended up losing the game. Into the midfield then. Amadou Onana. I'm going to give Amadou Onana a 7 out of 10. I think it was his best performance in an Everton shirt for a long, long time. Potentially even ever. He was throwing the tackles in. He was winning the ball back. And more importantly, when he was putting a tackle in and he wasn't winning the ball, or when he wasn't coming away from it, with the outcome that he wanted to, he was picking himself back up and he was going again. He wasn't sulking, he wasn't letting his head drop, he wasn't walking, he wasn't sort of sitting there thinking, oh, well, I've had to go now and it hasn't worked, so I'm just going to stand there. He was picking himself up and he was going again. He was throwing his feet in. He was trying to win the ball back. I thought he was brilliant last night, to be honest with you. Very much faultless. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree with people that say, oh, how can you not rate Amadou Onana? Look at how great he is. I think he's a really good young talent who will be very hot and cold throughout this season, because he hasn't had a lot of professional time anyway. I think he only played 60 professional games before he joined Everton. He's young. Sorry. He's young, he's in a new league, he's come into a difficult situation, a difficult team, under pressure, an under-pressure manager. So you will have games where Amadou Onana performs like last night and he's brilliant, and you will have games where Amadou Onana performs like a couple of weeks ago and he's absolutely woeful. I've not got any real big issue about Amadou Onana. It all comes with age, it comes with experience, it comes with time. He will plateau out and he will settle out, and you will start to see performances like yesterday on a more consistent basis. But I thought he played really, really well yesterday. I thought he was probably Everton's best player. So he can have a 7.5. Gay next to him, I'm going to give Gay a 6 as well. Significantly better than what he was against Brighton, but that wasn't hard, to be honest with you. I think he could have come out with a blindfold on last night and he'd have been better than what he was against Brighton. Again, battling a little bit more, putting himself about a little bit more, careful with his passes, movement was better, fight was better. It was just a better performance from Idrissa Gana Gueye overall. Again, nothing to really blow any of our skates up, nothing to really make any of us sit here and go, oh my god, how amazing, but it was just better than what he had been. Alex Iwobi then, next to them obviously going off with an injury midway through the game, wishing Alex Iwobi, of course, a speedy recovery. I believe it is an ankle ligament injury, stretched it off, didn't look great at the time. We don't know how long he will be out for. We haven't had that diagnosis yet. I believe he will have a scan today, so I'm sure we'll find out at some point over the next coming days from Everton. But I'll give him a 6 for the time he was on the pitch. I didn't think it was as great as the games. I thought his effort was there. I thought his determination was there. I thought his movement was there. I am slightly worried for where Everton go now without him in the team, because he, for a large part of this season, has been the only shining light in this Everton team. But he didn't have as great as the games yesterday. He ultimately battled. He worked. He fought hard. And, as I said, we obviously all do wish him a very, very speedy recovery. Didn't look good. Hopefully it's something that won't keep him out for too long. But yeah, I thought he was okay. Paul says, why not lose them? Miss the muscle nerdy glasses and side contacts, dude. Because why do I have to? Why do I have to? I'm comfortable wearing glasses. I can see with them. I think I look alright. So why do I have to? Anyway, I digress. Into the forward line then, Demarai Gray. I'm actually going to give Demarai Gray 7.5 out of 10. I thought with Amadou Onana, he was probably Everton's best player. Now, obviously, it's in the context of the game, and I still have massive question marks around Demarai Gray because of his consistency and because of his ability to perform well over a consistent form of time, consistent period of time. But having said that, I thought he looked good yesterday. I thought he looked good. I thought he was trying things. He was trying to take players on, and whilst he mightn't have been successful for a lot of those times, he was trying it. He was attempting it. He was trying to make something happen. He was trying to drag us through. He was trying to create. He couldn't fault his work rate. He couldn't fault his effort. I thought he did well. Yeah, as I said, unlucky obviously with the offside goal, offside by a toenail, so massively unlucky, but yeah, I thought he was okay. And then Maupay, I'm going to give Maupay a 5, to be honest with you. No, I'm not. I'm going to give him a 4. I've seen a couple of people saying he done well and he worked hard and he held the ball up and he got the assist for the goal. I mean, in the reality, let's be honest, David De Gea got the assist for the goal because it was an absolutely woeful mistake. I just don't think Neil Maupay offers Everton anything, to be honest with you, at the moment. No matter what system he plays, whether he plays with a 3 next to him, as in 2 wingers either side of him, whether he plays with another striker next to him, I don't really know what he offers Everton Football Club. And yesterday, yeah, he works hard and he puts himself about, and when he's got the ball at his feet, he'll find an easy pass, but that's not what we need from a striker. We need them to be scoring goals. We need them to be getting in the right areas. We need them to be, causing havoc on the defenders and the goalkeeper. And I just don't think that Neil Maupay does that at the moment, if I'm being honest with you. Onto the subs then, Dwight McNeil. I'll give him a 6. I thought he'd come on, lots of energy, looked confident, looked assured, looked in a much better mood than what he had done in any of his previous performances. Thought he done okay. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously got the goal, which was ultimately chalked out. And other than that, didn't really do much, didn't really impose himself. Give him a 5. Didn't really cause much of an issue. And okay, look, if Damari Gray is a fingernail a toenail further back, then we're all sitting here saying Dom come on and he got the goal and that was what he was meant to do and that was his impact and it was a good performance, and I suppose you can't blame Dominic Calvert-Lewin for the offside, but I still think he could have maybe offered us a little bit more in the time that he was on the pitch. But he was fatigued. And listen, who am I to sit here and say that a professional footballer who's on a ridiculous amount of money per week and trains every single day doesn't deserve to be fatigued. So there you go. Anthony Gordon, he can have a 5 as well. Come on, ran around a bit, put himself about, didn't really have much of an impact. And Zakore can have a 5.5. I actually think he did have more of an impact. I think he was running around, he was trying to move the ball a little bit more, he was trying to fight, he was trying to win it back, he was trying to push forward. Yeah. There you go. Doug says, what do you make of the challenge on Iwobi? I haven't seen it again. When I seen it in the ground, I thought it was a good tackle. Thought he won the ball, thought it was a good tackle, and I thought it was just a bad circumstance for Iwobi. But I haven't seen the tackle again, and I'd have to see it again for me to make a decision. There you go. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. As I said, the instant match reaction is up now if you want to go and check that out. We'll be live on Monday with the game review, so don't forget to look out for that one. But until then, enjoy your weekend. Let's not be too disheartened. It's another distraction out the way, and we can now focus on staying in the Premier League again. That's how desperate we've gotten. Big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.